A lot of things can happen in 6 months. So you don't need to have clear what you're doing in 5 years, 10 years. It's good to have a idea. My foggy idea on my part is a 30-year plan, a 25-year plan actually. And my foggy idea is into two sentences. First sentence of my foggy idea is, of my vision is, I want to do something that affects a billion lives, well, like indirectly. I don't know what it is. Just like if it means I will cure that in 10 years, fine. That. The second one is I want to do things that increases my chances to make a lot of money. That are the two things that define my 25 years. You could do that. If you want. And then the third thing is I want to make it for every day. Things that I really everything I do on a daily basis. So if I build a start today or I go on to become CEO at another company, it all boils down to the three things I just said. So think long term and holistically. Helps you determine whether you stay in one place or leave. It really depends. But you don't think of it as costs or expenses. Investments are what I do. Spend on a new course, or you spend. If I build and I know Gabriel's about Saturday, or I go on to. But you spend on anything that's going to improve your life and make that you don't think that's costs or expenses. They are called investments. And business, when they compare costs and investments, they always speak investment costs. So invest a lot in yourself, which is number 4 of it. And number 5, a good business understands loss is a part of business. Meaning you are going to lose sometimes. You're not going to have a high or a positive every single time that you run your business. Sometimes you would lose, and when you lose, it is fine. It is how you grow, it's how you get better, it's how you learn. If you don't learn, you don't grow, you don't get better. A good business knows when to grow and scale. A good business understands who they are selling to and who they are working for. They know where they are really, really good at, and they would stay there and become amazing at it. A good business picks a few things that they are really good at and choose to do those things excellently well. A good business can sell. If you can't sell yourself, give up or learn how to sell. A good business understands, keeps relationships, and most important one, a good business looks out for itself at all times. And I hope you can apply to whatever career you're building, because these are the things that really make a good career. It's not really about how good you are or how amazing you are at your job. Those are important. It's really thinking of it as a business. A business has survived. Next one. A good business understands structure. And what I mean by this really is that businesses die and grow based on the processes that make them exist, right? If you're a freelancer here and you're an in-house person or you run a business, one of the most amazing apps really that exists today that helps to bring structures that you build is FullGap. FullGap is an amazing product built by founders. Friends of FullGap are here. And good businesses, people who are building great freelancer careers or building great studio careers or business careers, should use FullGap. It's a really amazing product. Helps with the basic things that you don't want to think about: invoices, contracts, project management, task management, sales follow-up, boarding, client collaboration. A lot of things that FullGap can help you to do. Just think of it as the PA you wish you had, in a sense. And if you're building a career, especially as a freelancer or as a solo business owner, FullGap is what you should be using, technically. Finally, a good business survives no matter what. I'm just saying, if you're building a career, you need to be resilient. You need to do it regardless, even when it's not fun, or when it's sad, when it's annoying, or when it's pretty hard. Survive no matter what. Now, the thing you need to think about when you're building a career is that your career is not your job. Your career is not your job. Next one. Your career is not your job means that your career does not stop 5 p.m. Monday to Friday. That is your job. That's not your career. Now, a lot of people confuse having a job with having a career. you're a product marketing manager does not mean you're building a career as a product marketing manager. Do we get that? Do you guys understand that sense? You can be building a career that lands you as a chief marketing officer. So it means you are building a career in marketing. But a product marketing manager does not mean that you have a product marketing manager career. So your job is not your career. It's a part of it, but it's not your career. Career is a living personality allied every other personality that is inside you. If you're religious here, you have your religious personality, your family personality, your romantic personality. Your career is just like that. Your religion does not start and stop on Sunday morning. Neither does man's start and stop Saturdays to Sundays. And the same thing goes to your career also. They are all happening simultaneously at the same time. Why is that? Because the most random of things can make or break your career. And random does not stop because it's 5 p.m. Like the laws of the universe don't say, it's 5 p.m. I need to go and sleep. This guy's life is going to resume 9 tomorrow. Nope. And if random does not stop, you can't drop your career at that moment and say, I'm done with it. And we see it a lot in celebrities around us. Celebrities are not excused because they are not on stage. Every single thing that they do contributes directly to our perception of them, right? Their infidelity or whatnot contributes to our perception of them, whether we like them or we don't like them. It doesn't really matter because it's not their job. They're not singing. They're not giving us entertainment. They are doing something that is completely different from their day-to-day lives. Yet, we make decisions based on those things. And if those things happen to the people that we have around us, we are really no different. The things you do, the things you like and hate, and the things you do outside of work can directly affect your career. And a very clear understanding of that really makes a lot of sense. So I'm going to get somewhere I talk about why that should matter. And for example, right now is another random moment. If you're a creative, say hi. If you're a freelancer, say hi. If you know Fort Canvas, say hi. Do you want to work with Fort Canvas? Okay, this is your random moment. Are you working right now? Are you working? Yes, you're not working. This is an old slide. I think I made a mistake. Hold on. But if you'd like to work with 4Canvas, we have a link where you can apply to be part of our talent pool. I'm going to explain what a talent pool means in 2 minutes. Our talent pool is a community of really talented people who. Sorry, hold on. I'm just trying to. Yes. It's a community of creatives in 4Canvas who 4Canvas collaborates with on specific projects. So the way Canvas is modeled is we have our core team, and then usually because of the size of the projects that we work on, we have to work with other creatives, and the scale of the creatives differ from one place to another. We work with web developers, product designers, brand designers, graphic designers, videographers, animators, writers, brand strategists, Webflow developers, WordPress developers. To be fair, if you create one way or the other, you probably should be in community. So the actual link is bit.ly/join-4c. bit.ly/join-4c. That is the actual link if you want to be a part of the 4C talent pool. Just join that link would mean that we have your details, and if we ever have it, you would be that list to be one best list we refer to. 4Canvas works on amazing projects, which then means an opportunity to have really amazing projects on your portfolio. So if you think you are good and you're professional and you're amazing at what you do, you should definitely join. And if you want to talk to me about 4Canvas, I'll be around after the service. Number three, I paraphrase this from an ASAP Rocky quote. ASAP Rocky said, "Creativity is 90% editing and 10% creating." And I stole it from my quotes because this still, your career is 90% people, 10% everything else. Now, a lot of people like to think that if you are good enough at your career, it's enough. It's not. Being an A player is just a tiny percentage of everything that makes up your career. The funny thing about careers is that your progress or your regression is really dependent on the people around you or the people you interact with. I'll give an example. Who promotes people in an organization? Is it your skill or is it the person? Who promotes people? The person or the skill? So if you are good at your job, but they don't like you, will you promote? I use that sentence because I used to use it in primary school. I promote. Will you promote? No. A good example of that actually in the Bible, it's a king called Saul and his servant called David. And despite David being an amazing person, an amazing warrior, really, really good at his stuff, they will use David for his warrior skills. But David became what we all know as the courtside musician. And imagine being the general of your own army. Think of it like this: you're the head of marketing, but you're the one still writing articles for product launch. Can you imagine that? Or you're the head of design, and you have like 5-6 designers under you who also have designers under them, but you're the one designing pitch directly for your CEO. Yeah, you're not promoting sense. That's bad. So what it means by 90% people means a lot. It means respecting hierarchy, knowing how to respect hierarchy. It doesn't matter if you're best friends with your CTO or your CEO. Understand that they are the CEO, and you should respect them very, very clearly in your conversations with them, in how they make decisions. Learning how to work in a team, even if you are better than everybody in that team. Understanding how to lead, knowing how to handle conflicts, knowing when to stand your ground, and knowing when to compromise, knowing how to be quote unquote political, because really politics is just a game of people. And finally, stakeholder management. How do you pitch ideas to people who are senior than you, and how do you get them to listen to you? And how do you also communicate your vision to people who are younger than you in the company, and how do you get them to follow you? There's really a lot of stuff that comes with people, but being and great at people is something that you should learn. I'll just say, but I don't want to be on Twitter this afternoon, so I'll just give you another book to read when it comes to understanding people. The good book to read is by Dale Carnegie, How to Win Friends and How to Win Friends and Influence People. It's an amazing book, a really cool book to read. And if you are normal, you can also read Robert Greene's 48 Laws of Power. Contrary to popular opinion, it is not a manipulative book. It's simply a book that teaches you how people think and how to interact with people. If you choose to use it for evil, you're on your own. It's not me that caused it. Now, finally, number 4, and this is something that took me a lot of time to learn. This is probably the hardest thing when you're building a career as a young person. This is the hardest thing for you to remember, and it's the hardest thing for you to learn. And it is that your career is yours. Your career is yours. It's not anybody else. It's not your pastor's career. It's not your parents' career. It's not your girlfriend's career. It's not your boss's career. It's nobody's career. It is yours. And you might think that we don't know what we are saying when we say it is yours. The truth is, in 60 years, everybody that you are currently thinking about will not care about. In fact, they will forget about the decision you're trying to make right now. And whatever you do right now, remember what I said at the beginning, every action and inaction affects your career directly or indirectly. Do you remember? Cool. So it means that everything you do, at the end of the day, you would get both the reward and the consequences alike. And the fun thing about understanding or being self-aware about the fact that your career is yours is that when you're building a career and you make a decision and you're sure and you're confident in that decision, you are usually okay with the reward or the consequences, regardless of what happens. Meaning, if you make a decision because you believed at that time it was the best decision for yourself, and it turned out to be the wrong one, you can easily forgive yourself because you made that decision yourself, right? It is a lot easier when somebody else made a decision for you and it didn't go out well. So understand and agree with the decision and ensure that it is your decision before you make it. Build your career for yourself. It is your journey. It is your reward. It is no one else's. You do not, for any reason, build your career for anyone else. Don't build it for your boss. Don't build it for a vision. Don't build it for your country. I see a lot of people say, I'm trying to build my career, but it's Nigeria. I love Nigeria. If your career needs you to leave this country, leave. If it needs you to stay, stay. If you don't know what to do, whether you should stay or leave, and you're undecided, pick the better option, which is what? Leave. Right? If your career needs you to go back to school, go back to school. If your career needs you to switch entirely from whatever you're doing and learn a new skill, learn it. Don't say there are people who exist and they are succeeding without learning this new skill. It is their journey, right? One of the things I learned in 2021 was I'm a big fan of Christo, and I used to model all of my thinking around his teachings. And then one day it just clicked. Christo is American, I'm Nigerian. We sell in completely different markets, right? Meaning his thoughts are entirely valid, but if I'm going to make it work for myself, I need to create my own thoughts off of his. And so I had to make it my thoughts and my journey. There's a popular philosophical template called the Cartesian doubt, and it's really this concept that says everything should be doubted until you form your own opinions. And it's a hard thing to do, to doubt everything about you. It is that concept that created the popular quote, I think, therefore I am. Meaning, the person, which was Descartes, was a philosopher who brought up the Cartesian doubt. And his thought was, why do I believe in XYZ? I believe in XYZ because it's always been that way. So I'm going to doubt it. I'm going to ask questions and discuss it constantly with people around me until I form my own opinion about a certain topic. And when I do, it will become my opinion and I'll be sure in it. Which again, remember what I said initially. Form an opinion about your career, and it means that both the reward and the consequences will be entirely yours. And really, these 4 things at the end of the day should help you build a good career. They are the 4 things I've learned in the last 9 years building my career, or I'm still building one because I'm really, 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 really young. Which is kind of like the bonus tip. It's not on the slide, but the bonus tip is you are early. If I'm pretty sure very few people here have way more experience than I do at building something, a career for yourself or whatnot. And the truth really is you are early. Careers last as long as 40, 50 years. You probably have less than 10% of that or 20% of that. So give it time. If you're not good at something now, you'll be good at it in 10 years if you continue to do it. So give it time. Understand that some people have better IQ than you do, and being self-aware of your IQ is a good thing. It doesn't mean you don't believe in yourself. It just means it's the truth. Your IQ is your DNA. You can't increase it or decrease it, but you can use it to the best of your ability. Do we get that? Do we get that? Cool. So yeah, this is pretty much everything I have on building a career. I usually talk a lot, but not with my mouth. I write, and I don't write publicly. I don't write on Twitter. I send emails to currently I think 60 people. And if you want to be a part of those 60 people, feel free to go to that link on the screen and just sign up. Your first name and your email. I write about design, creative careers, leadership, building stuff, working in-house, working as a freelancer, building a studio, making friends, working in a startup, working for bad bosses, working for good bosses. My last letter was about handling conflict, or was about how I hated to handle conflict and how I managed it in the last 2 years. So you should join, and whenever I don't have anything to say, I write about my dog. So please don't think it's going to be serious all the time. And thank you. If you have any questions, feel free to ask me now for the next 3-4 minutes, or just send me an email there. and I would answer. I would answer as detailed as possible, no matter what your question might be. Um, thank you. If you have any questions, please say hi. Raise your hands if you have questions. Anybody? Someone at the back has one. Can you come, please? If you have, if any other person has questions, please say hi or come. Yeah, there's no mic here. There's no mic here. If any person has a question, feel free to come to the front.
Okay, good afternoon, everyone.
Hi, good afternoon.
My name is Kinoya Amide, and I'm a videographer and video editor. So, it started as a hobby actually, but I want to like turn it into a business. So the major problem I've been having is like sticking to a price list kind of. So it's always like, okay, do I reduce it to make myself more accessible, or do I just stick to the same price list? I don't know if you get me. And my second question, you talk about being overwhelmed as, you said being overwhelmed can lead to career death. So I want to ask, how do you deal with being overwhelmed? Like, do you get overwhelmed first? Then how do you deal with it?
So first one is your pricing problem. Second one is your overwhelming problem. All right. Price. Still hold your mic. I have one question to ask you. How long have you started it as a business?
Let's say last month.
Last month.
Yeah.
Are you really good at it?
Yes.
Okay. Are you unlimited LA good at it?
Unlimited.
LA.
Not really.
You know unlimited LA, right?
I can't hear you.
Do you know unlimited LA?
LA, no.
Do you know Damn It Switch? Okay. They are music video producers. Okay. Okay. Are you as good as Christopher Nolan? No. Okay. Do you know how good you are?
I'm as good as.
Your mic. Do you know how good you are?
Not really.
Not really.
Yeah.
Okay. That's fine. I can answer. So the thing with pricing is there's no bad pricing. There's no wrong pricing, really. Usually I would say charge based on your value, but you don't know the size of your value yet. So the first thing would be to figure that out. So I'll give you a second hack to pricing. Figure out how much it costs you to shoot a video and just charge 30% extra on top of it, right? That's good business. So if it costs you 100K to shoot a video, charge 130K. And if 130K becomes easy to charge, increase it to 170. If that becomes easy, keep increasing it like that. Then the day you know how good you are, put a figure to it and multiply it by 10. Are you fine? Then your second question regarding overwhelming. Yes, you will get overwhelmed. Overwhelming is a part of it happens. When you get overwhelmed, doesn't mean your career is dead. When you get overwhelmed over a long period of time, like 10 years, then it's dead. To fix your dead problem, there are 3 ways. Take yourself out of the situation causing your overwhelmingness. It could be your job, it could be somebody, it could be overwhelming imposter syndrome. You need to understand imposter syndrome means one of 2 things. You're either too good or you're not good enough. Take yourself out of it, pretty much. First, cure the feeling of being overwhelming before you try and move forward. The other way to fix overwhelming is take a break. Take a break, and don't take a break and go and sleep. Take a break and do something else. See a movie, binge. The last time I was overwhelmed was 2 months ago, and I started watching Grey's Anatomy, and I watched 12 seasons in 5 days. Right? Yes, it happens. The third way to fix being overwhelming is if you have friends, just drag them out, go out, just do something uniquely different that makes you forget about stuff. Do something unique, something that just makes work the back burner for a minute. And whenever you want to resume, start with the smallest thing. Think of it as you no longer have electricity in a ceiling fan. when his fan stops and then electricity comes back on, it doesn't suddenly start rolling really quick, right? It starts very slow and then gains momentum. So the goal is, once you think you have reset yourself back, start slow. And when you start slow, you're going to fall back a little bit. You're going to not feel like walking for a little bit. Forgive yourself. And just build momentum gradually, and eventually it will come back and you'll be fine. And you need to understand that it's just a phase. It doesn't mean you are bad. It doesn't mean that the world has gone to shit. You're just human.
Thank you very much.
Yeah, you're welcome.
Thank you.
Bravo. Yeah, thank you.
Please, a round of applause. Please keep clapping till he leaves the stage. Thank you. Keep clapping till he leaves the stage. Thank you so much for that particular session. It was beautiful. If there is one thing that I would like to take as a summary of what he came to tell us today, that I would also like you to take as a summary is, let your brand, let your business become you. Let us be a part of you. Let us be an extension of you. And the way you can't remove your hand and put it on the floor, the way you can't remove your head and drop it for a while for it to rest from thinking, let your business also be a part of you, just like that. I hope we got that. I hope we got that. All right, thank you very much. And we'll be bringing on our next speaker right now. And I would want us to, be ready for this particular session, because he is also coming to dish out. He's also coming to dish out knowledge. All right, so I'll be reading his profile, and I want us to do the tap, tap, clap while I read the profile before we bring him up. Can we do that? Can we do that? Okay, can we start? Tap, tap, clap. Tap, tap. Tap, tap. Tap, tap. All right. He is a speaker, a workshop facilitator, an L&D leader, known for cultivating high-performing teams using a blend of content, tech, and people, and with a degree in industrial mathematics from a leading African University of Technology. He found his passion in crafting solutions for human capital development, not just solving equations. He coaches individuals, consults for companies and organizations, and speaks regularly on subjects that empower human capital and drive personal development. When he is not shaping minds, you can often find him either playing an exhilarating game of soccer or passionately watching one. Join me, welcome. I want you to switch it to the rain now. Join me, welcome, Gabriel Balogo. Louder, louder. Keep clapping, keep clapping, keep clapping.
Thank you guys for having me. Okay, so I've been waiting since 1 o'clock to have my session, but I'm glad that it's happening now, because I feel like Praise has done a good job in prepping the ground for me. So I'm predominantly a teacher, which means that I will be teaching as opposed to speaking. Are we good with that? Are we good with that? So in 30 minutes, I would attempt to shape our thinking on how we should learn. Before I continue, how many of you in the room know me? I usually just, apart from my guys, I usually just like to know the people I'm speaking. How many of you know me? If you are seeing me for the first time, raise your hand. Excellent. So I'm among people that I don't know. Quick introduction, my name is Gabriel Balogun. I'm a learning and development professional with close to a decade of experience helping organizations build their teams. I have built 2 L&D functions from scratch. That means 2 L&D departments in 2 different organizations from scratch. I've built 5 digital learning academies. Um, and today I want to, in a few minutes, share how I have been able to move from 10, the head of a department, possibly a director, in less than 10 years. I'm excited to hear that story. So I'm going to share practical things that I have used that have helped me. And I hope to do that in 30 minutes. The hashtag for today's training is learning to learn. The biggest problem I have with, the biggest problem I have with audiences, thank you, when I try to teach them, is that the average man or the average person feels like they know enough. But the truth is, there is a multitude of things that you do not know. And it is very difficult for you to learn if your glass is already full. So one of the primary things I want you to do today is to zone out of everything you think you know about learning so that you can learn again. Does that make sense? Let me tell you a bit of my story. I took that picture in my second job. That was 2018. I'm a graduate of FUTA. I read industrial mathematics. So it's super glad and excited to be back home. This is my second time coming back, and I'm happy. Like, one of these evenings, I'm just going to take a walk around my hostel and classes just to see. I feel like I'm one of the few Futarians that miss FUTA. Many people don't miss FUTA. Thank you. So I went for my IT in 2014. I was working in a automobile company, Stallion Motors, and I just kept figuring, this guy, now motor did he make? I'm reading maths. How can I come back and do my project's IT defense? And I was trying to make sense, and I remembered a specific subject that I actually liked called rate of change. If you're in engineering, you'd have come across it, where they teach us acceleration, speed, deceleration, and all of those things. And that was how I was able to do a project, because I was working at an automobile company and we were measuring all those mumbo jumbos. But the sweetest part of that experience was I saw what the average man was doing as a career. People's job were to load spare parts, brake pads, and all those things in the store. And they were getting paid peanuts. You know, another person's job was to drag engine. And these were men that went to school. And so I asked myself, I said, if I graduate today, what skill do I have that would enable me to live the kind of life that I want? I like soft life. You can even see the way I'm looking. That's how I am, right? And I've always wanted to make money legitimately to be able to take care of my family, my future wife's family, my wife's family, and maybe just 3 people down the road that I can give chicken to for Christmas. That's always been my dream, right? To make enough money to tend for myself and my family. And I couldn't find an answer. And I came back to FUTA, and one of the big questions I had to ask myself was that, what do I really want to do? And I discovered that I had capacity to teach. And so in my part 5, I started teaching my colleagues employability skills that could help them survive life after school. And that became my first job. I did that for a whole 1 year in FUTA. And I had 1 year experience teaching, right? That was in 2016. And then in 2017, Praise said something magnificent about building a career path. When I got to school, I told myself that in 10 years, I wanted to be head of a corporate organization, head of learning and development corporate organization. But in 5 years, I wanted to hold that similar role in a smaller organization. And so from 2015, I focused on only jobs and only skills that allowed me get to that career path. This is my 9th year, but in my 8th year, I'm head of learning and development at Money Point. Everybody here knows Money Point, right? I am their director, one of their directors. And I achieved this before my 10th year. And I'll tell you why. I'll tell you how. So in 2017, I chose to work as an intern for one of the loudest and biggest public speakers in the country, Paul Fo. He's a sales expert. And I was his admin assistant for 6 months. And in 2018, I joined a creative consultancy as a project manager for their corporate trainings. And then in 2019, I joined my first EdTech and built my first online program. In 2020, I moved to another company where I helped them scale up a certain digital product, and we made millions of dollars. In 2021, I joined my second EdTech and built my first digital academy. And later that year, I joined another EdTech and built my third digital academy. And then in 2022, I joined Money Point, built the L&D department, built my 4th and 5th digital learning academies. And today, I am the go-to person in that organization when trainings and development and projects and all those things have to happen. How did I achieve this in less than 7 years? And this happened because of a concept I've called reverse engineering. And I said all those stories and all those achievements to help you see that it is not, you don't, see, the harsh reality with leaving school is that you can't wing yourself. You can wing it in school. You can wing it for 5. But when you leave the comforts, when you leave footers out gate or not gates, you cannot wing it again. The world out there is not very nice to people that have not determined what they want from the world. And so I discovered this concept called reverse engineering, and that's how I built my dream life. Remember, Praise was talking about think of your career in decades, not in 2-week sprints. So I have a 10-year plan. I've achieved my 10-year plan in my 7th year. There is a 15-year plan. There's a 20-year plan. In the last 7 years, I have not done anything aside from learning, training, and development. And I've worked in various sectors. I've worked for startups, I've worked for small businesses, I've worked for creative consultancies, I'm a member of Fort Canvas. I've worked for, name it. But it is what? Learning and development. Because I have a plan. And what does reverse engineering really mean? It is simply the act of dismantling an object to see how it works. So to reverse engineer anything, you will take, for instance, this speaker and smash it. And then begin to look at the components that makes it work. That's what reverse engineering is. Does that make sense? Do you understand that? Many of us did this when we were young and they used cane to beat that spirit out of us. How many of you did they buy cars for that? You melted the car to see what was making it make noise. I did that, Sha. And my mother said it was an evil spirit of destruction. And they flogged it out of me. But the truth is, to reverse engineer means that you need to be very sure about what it is that you want, and then think of that thing backwards. So imagine that your goal is to become a lecturer or a professor by 30. You need to ask yourself, at age 29, what do I need to know? Starting with, what are the steps to becoming a professor? You need to have written a lot of research papers. Then you need to have become a doctor before that. Then you need to have your master's degree and lectured at some point. And then you need to come out of school with first class or at least 2-1. So what you have done is that you have taken that goal and you have treaded backwards. So if you are in year 4 now and your goal is to be a professor, and the honest truth is you know that except Jesus come, you cannot make first class. You have to start thinking of, okay, what else can I do beyond the necessary direct route to becoming a professor? What postgraduate studies do I need to do after school to help me get that? Life is not vibes and inshallah. Take this from someone that has done 10 years outside school. Life is not vibes and inshallah. Life would only give to you as much as you demand from it. Am I making sense? Our faces are very sober, so it feels like my intention is not to flog us. But am I making sense? Am I communicating? Should I calm down? Okay. So how do you reverse engineer anything? The first thing is you need to define your ultimate goal. Let's use football. Guardiola's goal when he took over Barcelona was to reclaim dominion from Real Madrid in 2009, if I'm right. Yes. And in his first season, he did that. He won 6 trophies. Goal. What is your goal in life? What is your academic goal? What is your financial goal? What is your health goal? What is your relationship goal? Even if you want to marry at 26 or at 27, if that is a goal, you need to have a plan for it. Define your ultimate goal, and I can guarantee you that this is one of the hardest things to do. It feels like the simplest things, that's the tautology. The simplest things are the hardest things to do. What is your goal? If you want to be a product manager, what is your goal? And beyond just answering that question, this is how you answer that question. You need to be hyper specific, not just specific. So you cannot say, I want to learn copywriting. You need to be able to say, I want to learn copywriting for fintechs. I want to be a product designer for agricultural companies. You need to be hyper specific. Because if you are not hyper specific, you would go with the flow and be lost. There are tons and tons of I want to be product managers in the market. But how many of them actually are product managers? Many have just done a course, attended 1 or 2 boot camps, but because they are not hyper specific, they don't even know how to search and attain the right jobs. So they remain unemployed and they think it's village people. But the truth is, the superpower of your brain, the power of your brain is that it wants to help you get what you want. Has it ever happened to you? It's called, the part of your brain is called reticular activating system, ROS. Have you ever wanted to buy a certain type of shoe? You've made up your mind, you've put it in your mind and said, this shoe, I want it. And you step out, and for the next 3 days, it's only that kind of shoe you are seeing in everybody's leg. Has it ever happened to you? And you are wondering that, why everybody don't get this shoe now? No. Your brain has taken that as your desire, and it will keep feeding you opportunities and images for you to get it. So if you are not very specific, if you are not, I feel very discomforted. I'm feeling so much discomfort on the stage because I usually walk around as a teacher. If you are not very specific, you cannot eat the goal. I'm a football fan, so I like soccer. I make noise about soccer a lot. If your goal as a striker is to score goals, you will be termed a stingy player. Abi? Because that's your goal. If your goal is to score 30 goals, if you are in front of the goalpost, you will not pass to somebody. You will score. So again, I ask, what is your hyper-specific goal? I want to graduate in the first class is the reason why many of us don't graduate in the first class. It's a useless goal. A little bit noble, it's very useless. You need to be able to say, I want to graduate at a 4.5 or a 4.7. And then begin to ask yourself, what are the electives I need to do? What are the courses I must pass? If I have 4 units, I have 3 units, I have 1 unit, how would 1 unit course, how would failing it affect my CGPA? Many of us are not doing this. That's why we don't come out with the grades that we want. If you meet your best graduating students on the day they are giving they will tell you that I wanted to come out with the first class and this and this, and because they were hyper specific. Irrespective of what your dreams are, they are very valid. But it begins with you determining what the specific objective is. So, like I told myself, I wanted to be head of learning and development in a corporate organization, in a big corporate organization in 10 years after school. And I wanted to be that same thing in a smaller organization by 2020. Yeah. Because I left full-time in 2015. So did 1 year service. So by 2021. By 2021, I was academic director for UTIVA. I don't know if we know UTIVA here, but UTIVA is a school that helps people get and learn tech development. I was already that in my 5th year. I'm not going to tell you it's rosy. For 2016, I left my 2017 job, and I was at home for 5 months before I got the next job, because I was turning down jobs that were not in my career path. How did I survive? I learned how to make clothes. What I'm wearing today is done by me. So while I was waiting to be in my career path, I was making money, making clothes. That's not my career. Sometimes you have to do the things that you do not like so that you can have resources to focus on the things that you like. Make sense? So if you have decided to be an engineer, a mechanical engineer, ask yourself, that's why you need to reverse and ask yourself, what do I need to do pending when I get the jobs that will allow me continue in that path? Because the summation of your career is an accumulation of several opportunities in that career. You don't become head of department if you've never served as an associate before. You don't become a professor if you've never been a lecturer before. So at some point, you will do those little jobs. It's the accumulation of those jobs and the years of experience that gets you to the big goal. So if you're going to be anything at the highest level, you need to start doing it from the smallest level. All right? Next slide. Please help me. The second thing is you need to learn how to learn. There is a way to learn. And the way we learn in school is different from the way you will learn outside school. The way you learn in school is to regurgitate what has been given to you so that you can prove to your lecturers that you have what is called knowledge retention. So these are L&D terms. Knowledge retention is different from knowledge increase or increase in knowledge. Knowledge retention is I've given you something, I give you a test to test the capacity of your ability to remember the things that I've given you. That's what your tests and exams are for. And then we give you a grade to show how well you can retain the knowledge we've taught you per year. That's how your CGPA is built. Outside of life, it is different. It is knowledge increments that shows us that you are qualified for the next level. So if you're an associate, for instance, you cannot become a senior associate by retaining all the information you get. No. You need to demonstrate that the things that I have learned, I've used it to create this. And that product or the process or the things you create communicate to your superior that you have increased in knowledge. So let's put you in another level. Make sense? Now, how do you learn to learn? Learning is a process of elimination. It's not a process of accumulation. And I'm glad I'm teaching this to students. Maybe I need to do a university tour. But learning is a process of elimination. You need to decide what not to learn first. See, if you're going to be a professor, and I keep using that maybe because I'm in school and I'm speaking to students, you will need to understand that what are the things that I must not learn. You want to become a product manager. You have no reason to learn how to create TikTok videos. It's not on your path. You want to be a dancer. You don't need to learn. See, once you are hyper-specific, you need to now start figuring what are the things I need to learn. Because if it's a 10-year plan, year 4, I need to do this. I need to be here year 4. I need to be here in year 6. I need to be here year 10. I need to be here year 1. What are the things I must know in year 1? And I need to learn in year 1. And as I move to year 2, I need to stop learning those things and learn something different. You don't, for instance, you want to learn how to speak French. Maybe that's not the right example for this, but let me use another example. You want to learn how to play the guitar. You don't need to learn everything about music. You just need to look for somebody that plays the guitar, that plays the songs that you like to play with guitar, and learn from that person. You don't need to go to the best guitarist in the world to learn. Because there are different guitar playing styles for different genres of music. So you need to also say, I want to be a country musician, and I always want to play guitar for country music. You have no business sitting with Davido's guitarist to learn guitar. That's elimination. And you can only do that if you are clear on your goal. Because if you are not, you will struggle. You want to learn how to stream to YouTube. You don't need to go. Just focus on the person doing it. And sometimes the experts are the wrong teachers. Because many experts have not learned how to make a science of their art. Thank you, guys. Many experts, so you meet somebody like, I'm trying to use a very simple example. You meet somebody that is so good at something, but the person is just extremely talented. And then you tell the person to teach you, and the person is like, even myself, I don't know, now God help me. That's an expert, but not a teacher. A teacher is somebody that has made a science of their art. Every art has a science. And as you grow, you also want to become that individual that achieved the goal. And you can ask yourself, what did I do to achieve this goal? Because that's how you now begin to make the process so that you can teach other people. And that's truly what makes you an expert. There's a reason why everybody cannot lecture. Even if they are success, there are people that have built the most successful businesses in the world, but they cannot teach in business school. Because they are not teachers. If you don't remember anything, remember that Gabriel Balogun said that learning is the art of what? Learning is the art of what? Excellent. That's the second step. So the first step is define your ultimate goal. When you define your goal, you need to learn what you should not learn. And then the third thing is to learn by doing. So I'm not speaking to kids. I'm speaking to adults. And the difference between children education, I've been doing this for 10 years, so forgive me if I bring a lot of this teaching terms. My goal is to lecture one day, Sha. So maybe I need to go back to school. I've not done my master's. So maybe I need to go back to school. But it's a far goal. I need to achieve something. So In children education, it's called pedagogies. In adult education, it's called adragogies. Which means that every time you're trying to teach a child, your expectation is that the child do not know anything. If you're trying to teach an adult, the adult knows something. And your job as a teacher, when you're teaching an adult, is to activate what they know and then direct it. Not assume that they don't know. So as adults, you don't learn by listening. You learn everything I've said now, you will forget if you don't practice. So as an adult, you don't learn by hearing, you learn by doing. Okay? Who's helping me with the slide? You learn by doing. Learning doesn't happen in theory, it happens in practice. You don't learn how to talk by reading. You learn how to talk by talking. You don't learn how to speak French by reading French. No. You learn how to speak French by speaking French. Abi? Am I not saying the truth? Let me end with this. There's a rule called the 20-hour rule. Before it used to be 10,000 hours. It has become 20 hours now. I mean, you still need to do 10,000 hours anyway. What's the 20-hour rule? It's 2 steps. 1, break down the things that you have identified that you want to learn into small chunks. So I want to learn how to dance. So the first thing I need to learn how to dance is how to maybe move my body. No, that's too vague. Let me use something easy. I want to learn how to do data. I want to be a data analyst. Maybe that's the goal. Yeah, I'm wrapping up. Thank you. I'm sorry. And the first thing you need to learn is, maybe I need to understand what data analysis is. Then the second thing is I need to learn the tools for data analysis. A mistake that we make again is that we try to learn everything in 3 weeks. It doesn't work like that. You need to take one thing and commit to learning it with focus and intensity for 1 hour for 20 days. So you take one thing and for 20 days you are just learning and practicing. David Beckham, for instance, will practice free kicks for 40 minutes, 50 minutes, 1 hour. So the day he does it on the pitch and there's a free kick and he just drops the ball and he scores, people say, not talent. No, he has practiced it for hours. Same thing with Michael Jordan, for hours. To the point where when they get to the big stage, they don't even, it's now, their concepts, their escape velocities, their enclosed cognition, the word I'm looking for is unconscious competence. It has become so easy that he is competent and is unconscious. So he just picks the ball and he knows how to stand and throw that it will go in. Because he has done it over the years. So as you learn, practice. Dedicate an hour to learning and practicing every single day and watch your life become better. Again, the code is learning to learn, and I hope that I've been able to educate us a bit on the principles of learning. If you have questions, now will be a good time to ask me. Thank you, guys. Who's handling the questions and answers?
Good afternoon. My name is Emmanuel Amde Praise. I would like to ask that there was a point you made before: practice with focus and intensity for 1 hour a day for 20 days.
Yeah.
I would like to ask what the point was and what the headline was. I didn't get that.
Oh, the headline was, what do I call the headline again? The 20-hour rule. It's called the 20-hour rule. Dedicating yourself to learning for 20 hours, but not learning the 20 hours. Come up. So it's dedicating yourself to learn for 20 hours, but not learning for 20 hours at once. So you are actually learning for 20 days, but it's 1 hour per day. Because you also have a life. You get babe to toast. You get food to eat. Right? You have other things. You have time papers to write. Right? So, yeah. That's it. 20 hours, the 20-hour rule. Another question? I'll come and meet me later. I'll tell you. So that we don't keep them waiting.
Good afternoon, sir.
Good afternoon.
Thank you for the very impactful session. I really appreciate it.
You're welcome.
So, ask my question, I need to tell my story.
Okay.
Right? So,
But I'm not sure there's enough time for you to tell your
it's
story.
just a very short story. It's going to
Okay.
be very short, right? So, I've done a lot of things in my life, right? Like from physical jobs to like a lot of jobs. Okay. So like I've done a lot of things in my life, like a lot of jobs, like a lot, right? And currently, I am like a project manager, an event project manager, and I do marketing. And right now, as a project manager, although I intend to go to the event space, I don't have enough opportunities for me to learn. So I'm
Okay.
currently project managing a marketing project, and I'm looking to like break into probably software project management, Web3 project management, anything that can help me to gain experience.
Okay.
So my question now is this: you mentioned being hyper specific about what you want to do,
Yeah.
right? So aside from my experience, I believe that being hyper specific about anything we want to achieve prevents us from gaining other experiences that might contribute to a part of our being.
Okay.
Because like the creative person said, like every single thing that we partake in actually contributes to our person.
Okay.
So that is what I believe. I don't know, what is your opinion about that?
Okay, so I don't think that when you're hyper specific about your goal, you discard every other human relational ability you need to learn. So let me tell you, I was talking to a couple of guys. Skills are overrated. Your ability to think is actually your superpower, not your ability to do. Because the guys that make the most money in the world don't do. They think, they are visionaries, right? I think that if you are, for instance, if you want to be a project manager, you need to learn communication. You need to learn stakeholder management. You need to learn how to manage conflict. You need to learn how to interact with people. Your ability to identify the human components to learn and the technical components to learn is what makes you a project manager. So do not say that because you are hyper specific about your goal, all you're choosing to learn is the technical arm of it. To be a product manager, you manage human beings. It's the human beings that create the product. So if you have poor people skills, you will never ship a product. So when you learn all the design thinking and agile execution and every other thing that is a major technical term, you need to learn how to be a better human being, how to lead people, how to manage people, how to drive people. And truly, if you can master how to lead and manage people, you don't even need to know how to do that thing. The people can do those things as long as you can manage them. Does that make sense? All right, thank you.
My second question is, what advice would you give to me?
My organizers are, okay, what advice would I?
Would you give to me trying to navigate the project management world in
Okay.
different industries?
Thank you for asking this question. I wanted to start with this, but I forgot. Please, spend the rest of your life becoming a person that knows how to figure things out. Every single thing is figure-outable. People hire people that can figure things out, whether it's in their career path or not. So if they need somebody to write, volunteer even if you're not the best writer, and learn on the job. If they need somebody to do something, just be the person that can figure things out. Because when you're somebody that can figure things out, we can trust you with stuff. Because we know you will figure it out. And that's how you get promoted. That's how you get loved by people. That's how you get recommended. Make sense? I'm building a career on Twitter. I'm popularly known on LinkedIn. Please, you guys should follow me on Twitter. I think my handle is, what's my handle again? At I am Gabe Balogun. So Gabriel, Gabe Balogun. I am Gabe Balogun, please. If you can follow me on Twitter, follow me on Twitter. I try to drop some of these things once in a while. If you want to know more about my story, if you go to Twitter now, there's a short clip of me talking about my story on public TV. Thank you guys for having me, and God bless us all.
A round of applause. Make it louder.
Thank you so much, sir. Thank you. This section was really, really impactful, so insightful. So, he said that we should, learning is actually a process of elimination, knowing what to learn and what not to learn. And I think for someone like me that can actually do a whole lot of things, this has been a major issue for me because I always want to do this, do that. Growing up, I'm not like a student anymore, and I need to make. So it was really, really insightful for me. Thank you so much, sir. Thank you so much. We appreciate you. So what I want now, I'm going to be inviting to the microphone the what's the name of this? Yes, Neura Spice, the CEO of Neura Spice. I've forgotten his name. Ade. What's his name? All right, yes. I told him that time that I had forgotten his name and he didn't tell me his name. So a round of applause for him as he tells us more about Neura Spices.
Good evening, everyone. If you're hungry, say I. If you are very hungry, say I. If you are really hungry, say I. All right. I want to tell you a short story, so you will find something to munch on in the story. Do you understand? So I watched a movie at a point, and the high point of the movie is there was a rich man, and he died after eating dinner. So, and the normal thing should be this fact that they just assumed that his food was poisoned, and they brought in a detective to, try to figure out what killed the man. Top story is the fact that the man died after eating the food, and the man died because of the food. Do you understand? So I want to throw a trivia. Let's just skip that. It now led to the point that the maid was accrued to be the killer. And going back and forth, the post-mortem autopsy, just everything, and they found out eventually that he died by eating the food. But how? That's the Sherlock Holmes-like thinking, and it was found out that he died because he had an allergy that the cook used to cook, one of the ingredients that the cook used to make the food. And that's what you get when you only rely on a cook or a chef to make your food. But what would it be like if you have a dietitian making your food? That's when everything that goes inside the food is consciously made. And that's where neutral spices is making a difference. So it's not just the fact that you are eating food, it's the fact that you are eating healthy food where everything is consciously made. So I have a video for you. Apologies, I'm not the CEO, I'm just a representative. So we have a video to watch from the CEO. Please stay tuned.
Hi, my name is Victor Mero. I'm the founder of Neutral Spices. Neutral Spices is a food and nutritional brand in the city of Akure. And then we commenced this brand with an intention to give people not just an opportunity to just consume food, but to also help them impact their health with the nutritional benefits that food provides. We believe that food shouldn't just be something you just take or just feel the taste, but we believe that food also does the extra value of keeping you away from sicknesses and also impacting your health positively. And that's why we commenced this brand, to give you that double advantage of having a very nice, tasty meal you get, and also providing the additional nutritional benefits to your body. And we intend to do this by, providing the various foods, special dietary meals. For instance, some of you who also want to lose weight, gain weight, or have any condition that requires you to have dedicated food having to help you to combat such health concerns. That is why we exist, to be able to give you that nutritional benefit to every food that you eat. So you're somebody that really cares about what you eat and the impact in your body, what becomes the aftermath of what you eat and all that. You can think about this brand as that brand that cares and thinks all the way, going all the way to help you to satisfy the nutritional and the health benefits of the food. We have professional dietitians that helps in the quality assurance of having to get you the best meal. And you can ensure that every meal you get from Nutra Spices is not just going to give you the best taste, but also to give you the best nutritional value. You can visit nutraspices.com.ng to get much more information about us. Thank you.
All right. So now let's do something. We have an ongoing promo. If you send, the prize is you are going to win free food. Yes. So I said, are you hungry? So if you are say I. If you are hungry, say I. But the food is not today. Do you understand? So we have a coupon code that you are going to get, that when you chat up a number that I'm going to dictate to you, you are going to get the coupon code, and you go to our food hub, and you are going to redeem your code there, and you have the privilege to win free food when you use the coupon code, just because you attended BCP. So this is the number: 091 6050 7369. If a flyer is here, if you need the flyer, it can be just sit down to that brother. You will get the flyer 091 6050 7369. Because you attended BCP, you are going to get a coupon code, and you are redeeming it with, you are getting a free food when you go to a hub to redeem it. So how do you locate the hub? That would be Dangote Cement Junction at Southgate. That's where we are. All right, that's what I have for you. As I've said, it's normal for you to eat, but then it's now better for you to eat much more healthily. I was having a conversation with Mr. Yemi yesterday, and he's one person that I've now seen to someone who is now conscious of how he eats, and we can, just from talking to him yesterday, and there's much more benefit when you eat healthily. So I came up with something that was yesterday. I said, you only have one life to eat. So when you eat healthily, you are renewing that one life that you have to eat. Thank you.
All right, so thank you for that. So if you are hungry and you want a free meal, you know how to go about it. So now I'll be inviting Professor Oladuni Daramola to the stage. He has an important information for us. So round of applause as I welcome Mommy to the stage.
Thank you very much. Thank you, Tolu, for this opportunity. I want to appreciate Gabriel. Thank you very much. I finished from Industrial Mathematics 1992. So I think there should be a homecoming. All right, I think we should do that. Thank you so much. I really enjoyed that session. It was very impactful. I'm here to give us an information. It's a pity that we are not many here. And this information is for FUTA students, FUTarians. Last month, I had the opportunity of attending a particular event at the University of Lagos, BITE 2.0. I don't know how many of us know about, thank you. BITE 2.0 is a program, it's business, innovation, and talent expressions. So it's a program sponsored by OFF Foundation, Ola Dele Fajemirokun Foundation. And we were invited, the Southwest Center for Entrepreneurship Directors from OAU, UI, FUOYE, myself, and FUNAP. We were invited to that program because they want to scale it to the Southwest. The program It's for you to present, pitch your business idea, your innovation, and then you get some prizes to probably start or scale up. And it was really a great event that I attended, and we are bringing it home to Futa. So I want, and Sarah said something yesterday, and I think we have been hearing it again, that if you have opportunity and you are not prepared for it, there is no way you can access it. How many of us remember that? Great. So this is an opportunity that is coming here, and even Center for Entrepreneurship very soon, we are rolling out talent hunts. So we want you to be prepared, whatever you want to prepare. And there is a program we're still going to organize. How do you pitch your business idea? I was very happy when the judges were commenting the other time, when those guys were out here presenting, pitching. You know, they told them some things. There's a way you pitch a business idea that an investor will be interested in it. So all those things also you need to learn. And we have also heard from Gabriel that we need to learn. So those are things that you need to learn. Please, you need to prepare for these opportunities. Talent on, Bite, they are coming to Futa. Very soon we are going to send out the call. Competing with other universities. We are competing with UI, we are competing with OAU, FUNAB, FUOYE, and what I've known is that Futa will never take the back seat. So please be prepared so that we can get that prize. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Mommy, for that. Mommy, I have a question. This what you've just announced, is it also open to people that are not students? Just full-time students? Jesus. Hey. All right, so right about now, I'm going to be inviting another speaker to the microphone. Yes, she is an exceptional person. Her name is Fumi Koka. She's standing with progressively unorthodox results in fashion, film, and related fields. So for people that are in filmmaking, fashion, and they are looking to network with somebody, she is the woman. Our impact in these fields have been hinged on an insatiable appetite for excellence and loyalty to working ideas. Among the projects highlighted are young but rich career are African Urban Fashion Show, Lagos Fashion Week, Nigeria Students Fashion and Design Week, Medra Open Studio, Lagos and Abuja Fringe Festival. She believes collaborations are a great tool in scaling any business, and her fierce dream has plunged her into all aspects of projects and human resource management in art and entertainment. She sees this as a social responsibility to the society. She currently works as a project manager at the British Council. Ladies and gentlemen, a round of applause for Fumi Koka. A round of applause, make it louder, keep it coming. Make it louder, don't stop till she gets the microphone from me. Can you see elegance? Clap. Thank you.
Good evening, everyone. Thank you so much for the opportunity to come and share with young people like myself. Before I go into my very, very short presentation, how many fashion entrepreneurs do we have in the room? Okay. A few. Okay. How many business owners do we have in the room as well? Right. The reason why I'm asking these questions, I want to be sure how to streamline what I have to say because of the short time I have. So my topic for today is in sync with the world. And when I was speaking to Tolu earlier this year about picking this topic, the reason why I chose it is because I work across diverse industries as a project manager. So I major in fashion and in film, but generally in the media space, entertainment. And I'm also a lawyer as well. So I cut across a lot of aspects. So when we say being in sync with the world, I mean, I want this to be quite interactive. So what comes to your mind? Anybody wants to, take a go at that? Like when you say in sync with the world, what comes to your mind? Because for me, what I see is alignment. Being aligned with what's going on in the world, being aware of what's going on in the world. And if we're going to think about this as a business owner, which means you're also providing services for people, it would make your business more credible in that way. If you are aligned with, if you are locally minded, that's fine. For example, you're a student here in Futa and maybe you have I don't know if the guy that did the advert for the spices, I'm not sure if their market is Futa, but for example, if it was locally minded and he just wanted to sell to Futa students, that would be great. But then if you look at the products from the, I listened to the ad that, was that an ad? Yes, I think so. Or his speech on their products. He mentioned stuff about allergies and all of that. These are things that they're not peculiar to Futa students. They're peculiar to everybody. Everybody has, not everybody has allergies, but then if you have one, you should be aware anyways. But not everybody has allergies. But then what I'm trying to say is having allergies or having health-related issues is not a unique thing to Futa students. So if he's locally minded, he can always, produce and provide service to Futa students. But if he wants to impact the world, if he wants to be in sync with the world, he would find a way to ensure that that product has something that the world needs. That product appeals to the entire world. I don't know why I'm using him as an example, maybe because that's the last thing I heard. So that's why I'm using him. So I have, because of the very short time, I'm going to be highlighting just a few things and then I'll be out of here. So in being in sync with the world, I wrote here that you have to have a global mindset, but have a local focus. And the reason why I said that is because when thinking about being in sync with the world, the first thing to think about is yourself. You are a very important aspect of being in sync with the world. Because, for example, you're domiciled here, but you're not looking to be in Akure or Futa for the rest of your lives. When you live here, you want to do great things. You want to do amazing things. You want to do things outside your sphere. So knowing who you are is an important aspect of that first. So for example, I studied law. So I'm not practicing law. I'm not doing litigation. But I have that knowledge. That's where I started from. It was along the line while I was studying law that I found out that, you know what, maybe this is not what I want to do for the rest of my life. Then I pivoted into project management. Then I started with fashion. Then I moved into other creative aspects. So in figuring out how to be in sync with the world, you need to understand who you are, first of all. And one of my experiences with people with Nigerian students mostly is the fact that they are not studying the courses that they actually want to use. That's the word we use, the course you want to use. You're not studying the course that, you want to make money from. For example, Gabe just mentioned that he studied mathematics. But look at all the things that he mentioned while he was speaking. I don't know about you, but I did not hear maths in any of the work that he's doing at the moment. I didn't hear that. And that's because I want to believe, maybe while he was in school or maybe he was doing his service here or something, he figured out, that, what, maybe I don't want to be a mathematician or whatever it is that they use with the course that I studied. I want to be a teacher, and this is what I want to do with this. This is what I want to do, and this is how I'm going to go about it. So in figuring out who you are is very important. So that's my first point. So now we're going to do a very brief activity, and you can just do it with the person next to you. So I want you to think about what you are doing right now, and then also think about how you think this can be globally relevant. If you can come up with the reason why your business or whatever it is you are doing right now, even if it's the course you're studying, is going to be globally. I want you to sell that idea to the next person, to the person seated beside you. Think about what you are doing right now or what you'd like to do. For example, like I said, maybe you're studying law and you don't want to do law, but you have an interest, another interest. That's what that you're doing right now or that you plan to do. I want you to explain to your neighbor the global relevance of what you are doing at the moment. I'm just going to give us a few seconds to do that. And the reason why I'm asking us to do this thing is because no matter what you are doing, except you want to remain a small person, you have to think of the global relevance of what you are doing. The solutions I'm preferring, how is it going to affect the world in the long run? I can see some people doing it. Thank you very much for participating. And also, one of the things that this activity helps you with is that the more you talk about what you do, the more insights you gain from it. I don't know about you, but each time I talk about the work we do at Medra Hub, I gain more clarity and more insight into it. So, just take a few seconds or a few moments to do this. A new idea might just pop in your mind. Release a new product for that work that you're doing. All right, are we done? Some people are still talking. I have very limited time. Emmanuel Faith. All right. Thank you, everyone. So while you have done this now, I want to impress something on our hearts when it comes to building a business that is in sync with the world or building a business that is globally relevant. You need to understand that global relevance has to do with principles while being, locally focused, which means, you're domiciled somewhere where you are going to, people that will be the first partaker of your product is based on culture. So where you are at the moment, for example, we are in Akure, there are certain cultures that are infused into products here. I'm going to use trophy as an example. I was speaking to a friend of mine yesterday and we noticed that a lot of the trophy has to do with a lot of Nollywood actors. And then their tagline is Omoluabi. What does that tell you about that brand? I don't say they don't care about people in the East, but do they feel like they care about people in the East or in the North? Exactly. So, but the idea also is that one thing that people do not know about that the ads that they do is they have fouls on their payroll. Is Yoruba, of course, is in Nollywood. Sometimes he does Yoruba films. I think I've seen a few of that. But he's also a global citizen, which means they are appealing primarily to, the Yorubas as their local focus. But fouls being a global citizen, it means that they are reaching much more than their local focus. So now that you have done this exercise about, the global relevance of what you do, another thing I want you to put at the back of your mind is, how do I push this global idea into the world? And like I said, that's based on principles. So what are those principles that your business or your idea is known for? What are those basic principles that wouldn't change? Also, I want you guys to know that principles don't change. It's the procedures that change, how you carry out those principles. But then principles are those things that they are very, they are the basic. They don't change. So I'm going to leave that there. So it's something you can, think about much later. So after today, what you can do is, think through on the principles of your business. How do they relate to being globally significant? And also think about the culture of your product or of your business as well. How do they relate to my local assembly and how do they relate to the world at large? And one thing we need to know is that when being globally relevant, it doesn't mean that you have to do away with your culture, because that's what will make you stand out. If you decide that you're going to go into every country and then just claim their culture and infuse it into your product, then you would be losing the essence of that organization or of that business, because you'll be moving from different, imagine, I'm going to use an example, and this is not a shade. If you notice, and this is not a shade on any politician, but then whenever it's time for election, you will notice that all the politicians will start dressing in all the tribes across Nigeria. You know, they would, if they want to go to the east to campaign, they would change, they will wear cultural attire there. There's a reason why. There's an appeal that they're looking to give. So we can just put that at the back of our mind. So now I'm going to go a little bit in depth into, you know, what I'm really here to talk about, which is collaboration. So now that you have your principles in place, you understand your indigenous culture, and then you understand the global relevance and the local focus as well. You need to understand that in whatever business you are growing, collaboration is very important. And one language that collaboration understands is value. So for example, if I was speaking Spanish right now, I'm sure nobody in this room would understand me, except you are using Duolingo, like Emmanuel Faith. Except that. But what's about language is that it is universal. I mean, people say English is a universal language, but then I don't thoroughly believe it. But you know, a lot of people aspire or strive to learn that language. There's a reason. That's because majority of the world understands English language, which means if you are an entrepreneur looking to be in sync with your world, you have to have the language of collaboration at your fingertips. Nobody is being self-made these days, if you notice. For a very, very long time, Burna Boy claimed to be self-made, but very recently, I saw an interview where he was dropping accolades for Wande Cole and the like, saying, you know, they inspired him. That's to show you that, you know, when you are collaborating, it gives you an edge. But when you start to go alone, there's so much that you can do, and most times it's very, very little. For example, I run an organization called Medra Orb, and we work with fashion entrepreneurs. What we do is we work with grassroots fashion entrepreneurs and help them grow their businesses. How do we do this? So we go to mostly campuses. We find people that have businesses between the ages of 1 and 2 years old. We find out what you're struggling with, and we try to prefer solutions to it. And we don't prefer solution by giving them money. We prefer solution by giving them a community that has what they need. So for example, if you're a fashion designer and you've been doing fashion for 2 years, but you've never released a collection, and I ask you why, you tell me, oh, I can't pay a photographer. All I can do is sew. I can't pay a makeup artist for a photo shoot. I can't pay for a lookbook and all of that. I will connect you with a photographer that is looking to create content for his brand, that is also within the age of 1 year and 2 years old. So that kind of person is not getting jobs. And that's because when you look for a job, they'll ask you, where's your portfolio? You don't have a portfolio. Why? Because you've not shot anybody. I'll look for a makeup artist that started a business as well. You too, you are looking for a model. Models are charging you now, Abby. Okay, look for a model. Before you know it, I put 6 or 7 people together. By the time they create, a photographer has a portfolio, a fashion designer has a lookbook, a makeup artist has a lookbook. It goes on and on. I'm sure you understand what I'm trying to say. And that's the power of collaboration. And like I said, if you're going to be in sync with the world, you need to collaborate, because you can go really far with that. And you will spend less as well. And sometimes when you collaborate, you make money too. You make money because imagine I have a job right now, and this happens to me a lot of times, where somebody, so because I work in fashion, people just assume that I have a lot of skills. So they come to me, oh, I need this, I need that. I will connect them. For example, let's assume that Tolu needs a suit, and he comes to me and says, for me, so I need a suit and I need a trusted hand. I will look for a fashion designer that knows that make great suits. I will liaise with him, we will collaborate, I will bring the client to you, and then I get a percentage from how much you're earning. So that way now, for example, let's assume that Tolu has left the country at that time and is in France or something, and then we send the suit to him. By the time Tolu takes a picture of the suit in France and I send it to the fashion designer, and if know how they do it on Instagram, I post it to my clients and so and so. Before you know it, that's an entirely new door opened to the fashion designer, and I'll get my cut out of it. So when I say collaboration helps in being in sync with what is what I mean, it helps you go farther and faster as well. So you might want to keep it at the back of your mind. So if you're starting a business, you might not want to get a partner, legally, but you can just find someone that you can grow with in the meantime. And when you see that things are starting to get serious, you can decide that if you want to go into a full partnership or not. So my advice is, learn how to collaborate. It's a very, very important skill that you might want to put in place if you want to be in sync with the world. So remember how I mentioned that one language that collaboration understands is value, which means it's value for value. I have value, you have value, we come together and we create something beautiful. So I'm going to mention, this is where I'm going to, stop. I have written here 5 languages of collaboration. And the first one is clear communication. So, like I mentioned, language is very important. If I understand you and understand me, we're going to go places. When you are trying to collaborate with somebody, ensure that the communication line is clear and open. Ensure that the terms of your agreement, you might not want to do I would advise to you do a contract, but when people hear contract, they hear something very serious. But ensure that the communication lines are clear and open. For example, I've had issues in the past when we started Medra where we had photographers come on set to shoot and never release the pictures. And they said, when I was going into this collaboration, I did not know there was going to be a lot of work. And then they just basically messed up that collaboration. But imagine I had a contract in place for that. Maybe I will still be in court by now, because court processes in Nigeria takes years. And that's thing you want to put in place is clear or defined roles and responsibilities. What am I bringing to the table? What are you bringing to the table? Defined roles and responsibilities for everybody on the team at that moment. Another thing is trust and respect. Human beings are a very dynamic set of people, which means you meet someone today, they're excited to work with you, and tomorrow might not be the case. Something must have happened, or something might have happened, and then before you know it, there's a problem somewhere. When you're going into a collaboration with somebody, you want to work with someone that you trust. You want with somebody that is responsible. And this goes back to portfolios, like I mentioned in the beginning. You need to see the work they've done. Ask them the timeline for those jobs. Ask them, in fact, you might want to do, that's why we have reference on our CVs. Some people who put their CVs together, put great work. By the time you read that to their reference, they'll tell you, don't work with that person, because they're just going to ruin your work. I'm going to give you an example. So recently, one of my friends who is a stylist, she had a PA that was working with her, and a job came in. She that kind of job, she charges ₦1 million, and then the person comes like, I can't afford $1 million, I have 500,000, and okay, sorry, I can't do it for that price. Then the PA goes behind her back to get the job. As per I'm a PA, I've been learning the work. Then this person, I would say is ignorance, gives the job to this PA. Then the PA refuses to deliver, and then you now carry police to the office of the boss, saying, I know she used to be your PA. That doesn't make sense. Why? Because if she had done a background check on that person and know the kind of work that they've done, which would have included reaching out to the boss in the first instance, because reference, if not our boss. So you might want to do clear background checks on whoever you're collaborating, because it can go south. Like I said, a lot of time, collaborations they don't include money. It's value for value, and people can really, really be responsible when it comes to that. So you want to do a background check. Another thing is flexibility and adaptability. Things will change from time to time. A lot of things will change from time to time. For example, I was supposed to come here yesterday, but I didn't get here until today. Why? Because one or two things happened. But I had determined that I was going to be here today, and I made my way down this morning. But there are some people that do not understand the concept of adapting. It's like being a chameleon, especially when you're in Nigeria. I don't know if you don't know how to adapt when you're in Nigeria, and that's another story for another day. Now, the last thing I'm going to mention is that when collaborating, ensure that whoever you're working with, you have the same visions and goals. Very important. Very, very important that you have shared visions and goals. By the time you put all of these things together, I assure you that being in sync with the world is going to be very seamless, because really, it's a lot of work, but at the same time, I think it's very simple, because all you have to do in the beginning is just find like minds. Learn the concept of collaboration, learn the language of collaboration, ensure that you know how to reach out to people. Networking is also a very important thing. I think Gabriel mentioned it during his session about learning people's skills. Very important. Without it, you really cannot go far because you need people to get the work done. So I'll be stopping here for now. Thank you so much for listening. And if you have any questions, please feel free to ask.
Do you have any question for her? I'm just taking one person though, if there is any question. Any question at all? All right. Thank you so much for that beautiful session, ma'am. And ma, I might be coming for the gown later on. I might be coming for your gown later on. It's really beautiful. All right. So we'll be moving to the last speaker for today. And I have the honor to bring forward Ajayi Joel, and I would be reading his bio before he comes up. He is a marketing expert, and he has led marketing and also works in teams in marketing space. He has so much interest and experience working for SaaS companies. Joel also likes building products and is currently running an agency helping creators monetize their attention. Please join me welcome Joel Ajayi. Please, a round of applause. Please don't bring down the energy. Don't bring down the energy.
Good evening, everyone. Hi, everyone. My name is Joel. I know you must be very exhausted like I am. It's not loud. Okay, I'm actually exhausted, but I'll try to make this very fast so that we all will be able to get the value and go. This evening, I'll be talking on a topic. Can you display my slide? How to create a visual roadmap from zero to global talent. And before I talk about this topic, I want to talk about the reason why I chose this topic. I noticed that there are so many people, especially from third world countries like Nigeria, that want to move from where they currently are to global talent, but what they get most times are inspirational talks. Work hard, be disciplined, don't give up, learn a skill, but they don't get to be shown the roadmap. So it's more about people going to try to figure it out themselves, which wastes time, and at the same time, some people get stuck for years. They don't get to achieve it. So this would be more about showing you the visual roadmap, and I believe that maybe by the time I'm done, everyone here would be able to say, okay, this is where I am currently, and this is where I want to be, and this is what I need to do to ensure that I get there. All right, so let me show the first thing on the screen. I'll start with my story. 6 years ago, this is actually an unrealistic mindset I had, but 6 years ago, I felt, and I'm being serious here, I'm not exaggerating. 6 years ago, I had a dream to become one of the billionaires in the world. I felt like I was going to be as rich. I had an idea 6 years ago when I was in my final year, and I felt like with this particular idea, I would, 1 year after executing it, I would become one of the billionaires in the world and probably kick off Mark Zuckerberg. Mark Zuckerberg, I think, was number 3 then, and Bill Gates was probably number 1, and Jeff Bezos? I really don't know, but I had the goal to kick off Mark Zuckerberg, and next slide. So Jeff Bezos was first, Bill Gates second, and Mark Zuckerberg third. Next slide. So I felt if I come up with a startup idea, I'll kick out Mark and be number 3. Well, 6 years later, I'm in front of you guys giving a speech. And the reason why I said this is many of us currently have this goal or this dream to be like somebody, a global talent, a top person. So if I would ask three people here, where who do you or where do you see yourself or what do you see yourself becoming? If I were to ask, I'm pretty sure many of you here would mention top names in the design space. If I ask designers here now, you'll be mentioning top designers in your niche. If I were to ask software developers, they'll mention top software developers. And if I were to ask maybe top writers too, they're going to mention top writers. It was the same thing with me. I had the billionaires there, but the problem that I lacked, you can display the next slide, is so you probably want to be a top designer working for Google, Apple, Binance, or a software engineer working at Facebook, Nvidia. Next slide. So the thing is, everyone wants to be a global talent, but there is no roadmap, and that's the problem. We all have these lofty dreams. I won't call it lofty dreams, but we all have these big dreams to become like these people. But the question is, and for the past 6 years, apart from the fact that I'm really interested in marketing and working with SaaS companies, I've been able to communicate with hundreds of people who are learning a skill. They want to become like these top talents. And the question is, I don't know if I'm growing. I am stuck. I feel like my life is not going anywhere, despite the fact that they've been told to keep learning, keep building your skills, keep working on yourself. Do you understand? So the problem is not that they are not actually putting in the effort. It's just that there is no roadmap. So what we have when there is no roadmap is someone like a 24 years old Daniel. He starts UI UX successfully. Then he complains that he's not successful after 1 year. The reason why someone like Daniel will not successful after 1 year is because Daniel has no roadmap. Daniel probably does not understand that to become a really successful designer does not take 1 year. And it's very, very common in the tech space, especially in a country like Nigeria. We have newbies without roadmaps, believing that in 1 year, someone like Sandra wants to earn 100K in 6 months because they fed Sandra with the notion that once you start learning software development, you're going to be very successful. Why is Sandra thinking that in 6 months she would earn 100K? It's because Sandra has no roadmap. If Sandra has a roadmap, Sandra will probably see people earning 100K are probably spent maybe like 5-6 years in software development before they can even get to that point. Next slide. Also, at the same time, it's also why 28 years old Femi will start product design 3 years ago, and it feels like it's not doing enough because it's not earning 5K monthly. Once again, in the Twitter space, if you're very active on Twitter, or in the Nigerian tech space, like this is very important. Many people currently feel like they are not achieving a lot, or they feel they are not, and I believe many of you are currently, like many of you that are learning skills probably have this mindset. You feel like, I'm not where I am supposed to be. I am supposed to be way more than this. Because you have no roadmap to really see how and when you should be there. So the next slide. So, okay, fine. The three of them are missing out on something. That's a roadmap. So what is a roadmap? A roadmap shows the distance, routes, and time it takes to get to a particular destination. So before I move to the next slide, I want to first talk about what a global talent is. Basically, a global talent is not somebody that just ends, because anytime the conversation around global talent comes up, people say, I want to earn in dollars. A global talent is just someone that can work locally and be able to deliver globally. That's just all what a global talent means. It means that you are capable to deliver locally in your current position, and at the same time, if you are taken to a place like Mexico to work, you will still be able to deliver. The same way, if you're taken to Saudi Arabia to work on the same projects, you'll be able to deliver. So it means that it's not just about working remotely, because most times when people talk about global talent, they feel like, provided I get a remote job and I'm earning in dollars, maybe I'm earning $500 or something like that, I'm the global talent. That's very wrong. So the conversation, and what I want you to really understand before I make my continue with my next point, is that to become, I want you to get it at the back of your mind that becoming a global talent is more about your capabilities, not about your earning potential, right? But it's a combination of both, because once you're capable, then your earning potential will increase. So to this, I was like, here is Mark. So this is Mark Zuckerberg. Remember, I had to kick him out 6 years ago, and I'm being serious. And I did not know that to become a very successful entrepreneur, it's not the same way I thought about it. So Mark, age 30, solid. So these are the characteristics of Mark. Age 30, solid proof of work, has time to try new things, Harvard University dropouts. He has solid leverage. He also has a safety net. I'm coming. I want to ensure that the slides are. So this is the comparison. Now, I want to establish a point here. This is you. This is many people, many Nigerians in the tech industry, not just tech industry, in the corporate industry, and this is where you want to be. If I were to ask you, let me even ask, I would ask 3 people. Let me point. If you would like me to ask you a question, please raise up your hand. I want to ask what you're currently learning and who exactly you want to be like, or who exactly you feel like I am going to become in the shortest time possible. So let me ask you quickly, just within a few minutes. Can someone give him a mic, or if you don't mind coming out? So just say your name, what you do, and what you wish to become.
All right, so good evening, everybody. So I'm Samuel, but I prefer you call me Samu Eleja. So currently I'm building a career in marketing. And then who would I like to be like? Exactly, I want to be Seth Godin. Seth Godin, sign off.
Yeah. So Samuel Elijah wants to be like Seth Godin, which is achievable. I think I will just do with that because of time. So the thing, like, I would like the screen to be shown so that I would be using this screen. So the problem with many people is when they try to pattern themselves, and you would agree with me, many people always, many techies or corporate people are depressed because people flaunt their successes on social media, and it gets us really depressed that we're supposed to be at this particular place. But what we refuse to do is we refuse to actually compare ourselves with the person we want to become. Because the best way to actually build, become a global talent is to be able, and he mentioned it when he was speaking, is to be able to move backwards. Like, you have to look at this particular person, understand what this person did. Hello? Okay. Is this mic really good? Understand what this particular person did for them to get to this particular position. If I had done that, probably, maybe 6 years ago, I would have not wished to be like, or had the lofty desire to kick out Mark Zuckerberg. So this is the comparison between myself and Mark. I'm not age 30 actually. I think that's an edit problem. So that's Mark, age 30, solid proof of. He has time to try new things. He's a Harvard University dropout. Has level. The mic? Okay. Thank you. All right. And this is me. I'm not age 30. That's an edit problem. No solid proof of work back then when I started my entrepreneurial career. Only time to survive. Federal University attendee. No solid network, leverage, and safety nets. So, understanding. Can you move to the next slide? Okay, before I even get there, sorry. A second, please. Yeah, so understanding, back to the one between myself and Mark. So understanding the reality of the person you want to be like, or the global talent you want to be like, helps you pattern your journey. So the best case scenario for doing this, which most people don't do, and I do this with my friends, whenever they talk about building a career, I say, go check out the career of somebody that you really admire on LinkedIn, and check their career projection. You will see they started from this particular place, then they went here and here and here. And if you notice the career duration for them to get to where they are, you'll be seeing something like 8 years, 10 years, 15 years. And somebody that just started a year ago wants to be like them and feels depressed because this person is already earning probably $400,000 as annual salary with equity and a lot of compensation. So what's the wrong way to build a roadmap to global talent? Like, you want to become a global talent. It starts blindly, live on hope, work hard. Now, what most people will tell you when they want to tell you that you need to become a global talent is believe in yourself, keep dreaming, keep skilling up, and then work hard. While this makes sense, this is not efficient, and I think that it's not the best way to tell anyone to become a global talent. There is actually a right way to become a global talent, and I'm going to show you. So the right way to be the global talent is to start from the future and work backward. Next slide. And I already explained it before that, which is look for the person you want to become, or look for the person that you see is a global talent. Then try to begin to look at what did this person learn first. Because the thing is, people get stuck while learning because they don't know what exactly they need to learn next, or they don't know exactly what they need to do next. Am I right or right? Am I speaking to people here? The thing is, I've experienced this, and the reason why I'm saying this, anytime I want to learn something new, before I make that decision to learn something new, I don't just work hard and keep learning a skill. I try to go look for somebody that is an experienced person in that particular field. That's one. Two, I also understand the reality of that person. For instance, the reality of somebody that learned product design in the US is different from your reality in Nigeria, because there are lots of factors. And you need to put that in place. So if somebody says, I am a product designer, I'm 24 years old, and I'm earning $500K per year, $500,000 per year, it's unrealistic to start thinking that at 23, just like the person, you would start earning $500K per year, because there are lots of realities, and you need to put these realities in context. One, what is the person's learning duration? Most times you find out that probably the person has been learning since 16, and you just probably started learning at 21 or 22. That's one. Two, they were not faced with a lot of setbacks, because I remember when I started my first startup, I built a lot of failed startups before I started running an agency. I started my first company, an edtech startup, when I was in final year, which I thought that after I succeed, I was going to beat Mark Zuckerberg and everything like that. I was faced with a lot of realities. One, no light. I had to go and be sleeping in halls. What's the name of this hotel? Every night, I was sleeping at the hotel there because no lights. Data, etc. was giving us 8 gig for, I think, 1,000 naira. We sleep on us. So the realities were very different. So if it took someone like Mark Zuckerberg, like, let's say, 5 years to succeed to become a successful entrepreneur, it will definitely not take me 5 years. So it's two things. It's either I understand that it will take me 10 years, or I need to also do things to ensure that I double work whatever Mark Zuckerberg did, which in most cases might not be possible due to like existing conditions, right? So what do you need to do to become a global talent? One is to get a roadmap, which I've explained, and the roadmap is simple. Maybe when you get home, go back to look at the person you want to become, look at their career projection, look at where you are currently, check out job descriptions for the role that you are currently, and like this is even a skill around applying for jobs, which maybe I won't be able to talk about that because of time, but get a roadmap. The roadmap should be somebody that you pattern to become. Most times it is better to get a mentor, or somebody that's a mentor physically or virtually. One of the best career acts is to get a mentor. It might not be a paid mentor, but a mentor is going to give you a roadmap. A mentor is going to in the design space, I know many people look up to Victor Fatomi. Victor Fatomi has set the trail for many people to accelerate their career. When I started my journey into marketing, I had nobody I was looking up to. A mentor is not somebody you admire. For instance, he wants to be like Seth Godin, but the thing is, Seth Godin has no trail of his career path except you want to study Seth Godin. So what makes sense is somebody that you can communicate with, because if you've mentored somebody, like in marketing, I have like 2 people I'm actively mentoring. They learn writing from me. They are based in the UK. They pay me monthly to learn writing. So I told them that in 3 months, they can go from newbie to very experienced writers in 3 months, and also try to start applying for remote jobs. What I did was just simply help them set up a roadmap that we had meetings every week, twice in a week. And they've been able to follow it, that in the 2nd month, they are very good writers now. The difference between them and somebody who is admiring one of the best talents is you don't still have a roadmap. You will still be left to figure the things out by yourself. Do you understand? So it is very important you get a mentor, either virtually or online. And the best way to get a mentor, let me give the practical application, is to reach out to people you admire and tell them you want to learn from them and that you would like to stay in touch. One of the things I'm very good at is I can meet with anybody, anywhere. It's something I always tell people, that there is nobody you cannot reach out to. But most people, whenever they want to reach out to people to mentor them, they are always scared that, would this person not shank me or something like that. It depends on how you approach them. And most people approach people with sir. It's not something I do. When you want someone to mentor, it's just simple. Enter their DM, understand what the person has been up to, and just address them. Hi, I know you've been up to this. I would like to stay in touch, and then try to build conversations around that. That's number one. Then number two, please change the screen, is hard work. Remember I mentioned that hard work is not the best way to build a roadmap then. It just meant that hard work on its own cannot get you to become a global talent. You can work hard and still be moving around in circles, and that is where many people are currently. Many people are moving around in circles. They've learned this, and I'm speaking from experience. We learned this today. Because you want to become this particular role, for those who have been able to do it successfully within a short period of time, I would say it's luck, not just hard work, because it is luck that would actually enable a company to hire you without so much experience and so much like background works to show for it. So hard work is not just enough, but hard work is very important. Patience with yourself, resilience in the process. Is there another slide? Okay, no, take it back. So I'm going to dwell on this in the next 4 minutes and explain more things in details for how you can actually execute this. Because this sounds like theory. However, I'm going to show you how you can actually execute it. And for anyone that executes this thing within a short period of time, I think you're going to get results. So let me be very, very practical. You want to become a successful designer. The first thing you need to do, I am not a designer, I am in the marketing space. And like I mentioned, I run an agency where I help creators build businesses around their brands. And maybe I might just end with that. The reason why I mentioned this, I'm going to talk about why I mentioned that, but please show the screen, that particular screen where, yes. So I'm going to break this down on how you can execute it. So I am a designer. I have been learning design for the past 6 months or 1 year. I am good. I can design pretty well. But I want to be like somebody that is probably working as a designer with Netflix. What do I need to do? The first thing is go to look for the person that works at Netflix. Check out their bio. What exactly did they start with? Where exactly in their roadmap or in their career journey are you? You need to figure it out. Then also understand it based on your locality, like understand it based on your present reality. So if this person is in this particular location, if you're in this particular phase of this person's career journey, position yourself there. Then the next thing is to look for a designer that is within that career journey, or within that is a little bit slightly above that you want to latch yourself onto. Many people, like I said, I've spoken with hundreds of people who are building a career. I have helped, actually, directly, indirectly, I've helped hundreds of people secure jobs locally and internationally. So I understand how it is when people talk about these experiences. So people look up to people who are slightly above them, but the mistake they make is they don't know how to reach out to them. Remember I mentioned this, but now I want to talk about the practical application to do it, and you can write this down. So let's say I want to reach out to somebody successful, who is a very successful person, someone like Victor Fatomi, and I want him to mentor me. 2 things. One, Victor Fatomi is not going to have time, but definitely I can still learn from him. What I just need to do is, one, look for the fastest way or the best way to reach out to him. One of the ways that I used to reach out to people that I don't have access to is to go on social media, follow them on social media, drop a comment in their posts, and tell them I send them a DM. People don't know that this works, but as somebody who is working with a lot of top entrepreneurs, it's top creators, it is one of the tricks or the hacks that I do. People feel like this person is not reachable. It is not true. Whoever you want to reach is actually reachable. If their DM is locked, the best thing to do is look for the platform that they are very, very actively engaged. Go into the comment section, tag them and say, hi, Jeff Bezos. I know people like that probably don't manage their social media accounts. But hi, X and Y, I send you a DM. Use it the way whatever I tell you, just use it the way it is. This is the way I use it, and I have a 90% conversion rates. Like I have a 90% response rate. Hi, I've been trying to reach out to you. Please check your DM. And once you do that, ensure that you send them a message in their DM. Hello, X and Y. I have been following your page for a while, and I would like to stay in touch. I am so and so. You don't go and say, hello, good morning, and wait for them to reply. Nobody has that time for that. When people send me that, I just don't even go back to it. But you want to ensure that you talk a little bit about yourself in that instance. And then you say, I would like to come around to speak more often. Do you mind? I'm saying it's the way I do it, and it works. And they'll be like, sure, I don't mind, or something like that. And then you have access to them. The next thing you want to do is to try to also ensure you engage in their post with meaningful comment and stuff like that. Then you can ask them that, would you mind if I ask you a question? They will definitely give you access. But if you come up with, sir, good morning, ma, I look up to you, you've been motivating me and inspiring me, you're somebody I admire, automatically they look down on you. And this is actually a psychology issue. They feel like this person is a newbie, so the way I should react to this person is somebody that I should not give my time. I should tell the person I'm busy. But when you come with somebody that really has value and a class of your own, obviously they are going to respond to you. So that's the first thing you need to do. When you now do that, the next thing you need to do, which on the screen, is hard work. But what is surrounding this hard work? Few things that are surrounding this hard work that people don't pay attention to is, number one, community or network. There are many people learning independently. Okay, in the next 3 minutes, I'll try to round up. There are many people learning independently, but they don't belong to communities. One of the advice that I give to people, which makes sense, is whatever it is you're learning currently, try to join a local and a global community. I always tell people that it does not take me time to pick up a career, get a job in it. How do I do that? The same way, I look for somebody that is successful in the industry, look at their career path, look at what I need to learn. At the same time, I also go to check job descriptions. If I am not qualified for those things, I go to LinkedIn or ask ChatGPT, what are the job descriptions for this particular role? Then I try to learn it. As I am learning it, I also actively look for communities to join locally and internationally. There are a lot of Slack communities, Slack design communities, Slack marketing communities, Slack sales communities, and I join. Interestingly, many top global executives are in these niche Slack communities. It is what I've even used for the past 2 years. I've helped more than, like I said, I've helped a lot of people get jobs. I've gotten more than 10, 15 jobs, and I don't mean Nigerian jobs, in Slack communities. They are very niche Slack communities that have executives of different companies, the marketing director, vice president of marketing for Notion, Facebook. They are in a community called Superpath. They are in Online Genius. When you join these Slack communities, it's an opportunity for you to reach out to them directly, because, I mean, it's Slack. These are communities. Send the same DM to them and ask them that, hi, I've been following you for quite some time on LinkedIn, and I like your work. I just connected with you on LinkedIn. Do you mind if I ask you a few questions? I did this when I was looking for a sales role last year. I lost my job last year, so I felt like I could actually pick up a sales role. And in 3 months, I actually got one. What I just did was simple. And this is someone that had no sales experience. I just joined the Slack community, looked at the JD, learned many things in the JD. Then I looked for some top executives in the Slack community, DM them. I have created my CV. Would you mind helping me peruse it for me to ensure that it is top? Interesting, many of them gave me attention. Some of them even jumped on a call with me and showed me, like they helped me like analyze my resume and showed me how I should repattern it. Then the next thing I asked them that, can you connect me or put in a word for me in this company, in this company, in this company? Interestingly, they did. So one of the things that if there's anything you need to take home here to become a global talent, which I didn't write here, is communities. And there is power in asking. Just ask the right way, right? So to wrap it up, one is that you should get a roadmap. Now that you have a roadmap, the next thing is to ensure that you join communities, network, like that's going to actually help the navigation you are in your roadmap, which also involves hard work, patience with yourself. To become a global talent, you have to be very patient with yourself. Many people think that 2 years of writing, 2 years of their design and their career design means that they are not doing enough. But you just have to be patient with yourself. And I'm not trying to inspire. I'm just saying that it does not just work the way you think about it. 2 years is not enough to actually become a global talent. For those who work and get to it, they are lucky. I'm just saying the way it is that in reality, there are a lot of processes, lot of steps you need to take. So do not most times look at those who are lucky, because it will end up getting you depressed. There are many people working every day and they're actually depressed because they feel they are not doing enough. Then resilience. Be a very resilient person. I am a very resilient person. In the face of challenges, you still need to be resilient enough to keep moving. You need to be resilient enough to chest rejections. You need to be resilient enough to push to break boundaries. And also, don't learn or journey in isolation. If you are learning independently now, please, as much as possible, try to learn in communities. Look for people that are growing in the same career. Try to latch on to their journey. And I believe that with these few points of mine, even though I cannot, and I've understood that it takes a lot to become a successful entrepreneur, and maybe in the next 10, 50 years, I can never be like Mark Zuckerberg after understanding the reality. Yes, that's true. I just understand that there is a lot of reality, despite the fact building that desire or the journey. I have seen the roadmap. I am following the roadmap, and I think that every one of you who wants to become a global talent should ensure you have a roadmap. Thank you very much.
A round of applause once again. Thank you so much. That was Thank you so much. Thank you so much. Wow, that was a session. You know, the last session for yesterday was a bomb, and the last session today is pretty awesome.
Yeah.
Like, I learned a lot. Just like you said, you know, I'm a designer, and when I started out then, there was somebody that I wanted to be like, but now I know that it is well. And you know,
Amen.
it's something about working in a bubble. You know, you are hardworking. I'm a hard worker. If you know me, you know that I work a lot. My laptop is here. I've designed this morning. I work a lot, but I realized that I'm working. Like, I'm working. Everyone knows that I'm working, but I'm not seeing the results. Basically, like, it's like I'm working hard, but I'm living in a bubble. Like, I'm working, but I'm not getting the layers, the fruit.
results.
So when he was speaking, it was as though he was talking to me, and I've learned so much. Thank you so much once again. So right about now, we've come to the end of BCP 24.
Who is excited? And if there is anything I want to say, I want you to beat your chest and say thank you to me. I say thank you to me. Beat your own chest. Your own chest. Beat your chest and say thank you to me. Thank you so much for being present here till the very end. Who has been here since we started? You started this, oh my God, you guys are the real MVPs. Thank you so much for being a part of this. We are really, really grateful. And yes, an announcement before we round this up. For those that got the premium package, the 10K ticket, we have a little gift for you after, in case you want to speak to any of the speakers. You have a session with the speakers. If you bought the premium ticket, you have a session with the speakers, and you'll be able to speak to them personally. I think that is fine. All right. So we'll be bringing up the convener of this event.
Before you bring him up, I have a question. Okay. And the question is that I hope you all got the value for your money. DJ. I said I have a question, a sincere question, and I want you to answer me sincerely. I hope you all got the value for your money.
Are you sure?
Are you sure?
More than.
Yeah. Thank you. So that's the focus, and that's the goal.
So wait, who is going to be at BCP 25? Who is going to be at BCP 25?
Yeah, I will be.
All right.
I will be.
We will
I know I will be alive, you know.
By God's grace.
Yeah, I will be. All right, so we'll be bringing forward the convener of the event right now to give us a closing remark. Please, a round of applause with standing ovation. With standing ovation. Standing ovation. With standing ovation for the one man, the big man, the one who has brought us together. The one, the man, the one and only. Soluwalashe Olugbemiro.